So little, said the formerly renowned mountaineer and still dashingly handsome Captain Hailsham of the mountain troop. Major Parkinson let the derisive laughter die away, then said in a graver tone, "The task force has been gathered together to show the world, and particularly Argentina, that Britain is serious about the fate of the so-called Malvinas. It will therefore be leaving to military music and a lot of patriotic flag-waving, in full view of the assembled international media." He paused for emphasis, before adding, "But we'll be leaving as well. We will simply go quietly, flying out tomorrow." This time his men whistled and applauded, obviously pleased. Parkinson raised his hands to silence them. When they had calmed down, one of them, Trooper Danny Babyface Porter, put his hand up and asked, "Do we have anything on the Falklands, boss?" Major Parkinson nodded to Captain Hailsham, who said, "Yesterday the Kremlin staff gathered together all the information they could find about the islands in the MOD map room, most of it from the British Antarctic Survey's HQ in Cambridge and other more confidential sources. You'll find those reports in the folders on the desk in front of you. Make sure you know the details off by heart before we fly out." "Are there any contingency plans in SAS files or elsewhere for a recovery of the Falklands if necessary?" the astute Ricketts asked. "No," Hailsham said bluntly. "All of the long-term planners who considered it felt it would be next to impossible to sustain such a campaign." "How come?" Hailsham nodded to Captain Grenville, who was in constant contact with SBS intelligence. "The nearest feasible base from which to launch an amphibious assault is the very Ascension Island you've just mentioned," Grenville said. "That's nearly 7,000 kilometres from UK ports and airfields. As for Port Stanley itself, it's a further 6,250 kilometres from Ascension, and there's only open ocean apart from Ascension between the UK and the Falklands." "That may be a problem for desk-bound planners," Ricketts said. "It's not a problem for us." "Correct," Parkinson said briskly, proud to hear such a remark from one of his men and eager to jump back into the briefing. "So tomorrow, 5th of April, a small advance party from this squadron, the 80 men gathered together here, commanded by Major Cedric Delves, will fly out to Ascension Island to take part in the highly secret Task Force 317.9, being formed to recapture South Georgia." A general murmur of approval spread around the briefing room, only silenced when Trooper Winston asked, "Who divides and rules?" "The work of all special forces, including the Special Air Service and the Special Boat Squadron, is to be coordinated through a command cell in Rear Admiral Woodward's HMS Hermes, the flagship of the Royal Navy Task Force. I'll be aboard with some of you men." "Do you think there's going to be a conflict, boss?" "Not immediately," Major Parkinson said. "You'll fly out to Ascension and familiarise yourselves with local conditions as best you can." "What does that mean?" "Ascension is a small island that can hardly sustain its civilian population of 1,000, Captain Grenville explained. "For this reason, the Royal Navy is going to severely limit the number of commandos and other forces who can be ashore at any one time. The opportunities for further training will therefore be limited." "Any more questions?" Major Parkinson asked when the silence stretched on too long. "Yeah," Trooper Gumboot Gillis said, licking his lips and grinning like a mischievous schoolboy. "Apart from its 1,000 head of human sheep, what else is on Ascension Island?" "A British telecommunications centre, a US airbase, a US space research centre, and a US gin palace called the Volcano Club. That should see you right, Trooper. Any more questions?" They all had a good laugh at that, but no hands went up. "Then I suggest you all return to your bashers, open those reports, and ensure that you've memorised them by tomorrow. You'll be kitted out in the morning. Thank you, gentlemen." Major Parkinson and his two captains stepped away from the